this is Amanda, and I'm going to talk about my addiction that I had to marijuana. I first smoked it when I was probably 16 and did it on and off a little bit, and then I really smoked it a lot when I was 19 and 36 now. I quit in October, so I smoked it for about 17 years. Every day, all day, a lot. And I used the excuse that I worked well on it because I got so much done. I would clean my house to perfection, and it just gave me a lot of energy, and I would always get a lot done. So I used that as my excuse that I could do it. When, a lot of people talk about how it just makes them want to sit, do nothing. But I also noticed that when my high would come down, I would get really aggravated very easily, especially with my children. I wanted to do my thing. When I was smoking it, I wanted to stay focused on what I was doing and get it done. It made me really interested in getting what I wanted to get done. And if anybody came in the way of that, I would get frustrated. So it kind of, the high came with a really low, that, at least for me. And another thing about it was, made me want to eat a lot. I was always wanting a snack on something, so I was eating a lot of junk. And it was a little bit more difficult to just stay focused on healthy eating and taking better care of myself. Along with the excitement also came some paranoia sometimes and anxiety attacks, especially when it dealt with seeing other people who did not smoke weed. I would get very nervous because it was my secret that I had. So I would get anxious, and going out, I felt like I really needed to drink alcohol because of this anxiety that I had, and I think the weed, the marijuana, made the anxiety really bad. So I was giving up what I called boredom. Without smoking weed, I felt bored. I was giving up boredom for excitement, but with the excitement also came the paranoia and the anxiety and the secrets, because I was hiding the fact I was smoking weed. And I became dependent on it. It was like I would look forward to smoking weed, and I would get bored without it, and I just couldn't wait to get home and smoke weed and clean up or do art or do something, but I needed the weed to do it. I made myself dependent on weed just to do stuff. And like I said, along with that, along with all the good stuff that I thought was good, came the frustration and the anger. Because my kids needed attention. When I was smoking weed, sometimes I'd play with them and it was fun. But I didn't always want to play with them. I wanted to do my thing, get my stuff done. And the weed made me focus on my thing, and if anything got in the way of that, I would get frustrated. I got to where I felt like I would just be bored without weed, and I just couldn't really think about living without it. And in fact, the times where I would run out of weed and wait for more weed, I would kind of get a little bit depressed. I felt like I couldn't really get out of bed and do anything. The weed was what I was depending on to give me the energy and the drive to get up and do things. It gave me excitement. And whenever I would run out and wait for the dealer to get more, I would get stressed out, really stressed, and feel awful, just waiting and depending on this outside source, this marijuana, my savior, waiting for it so I can live again. I created that dependency. I allowed it. There was a few times where I quit smoking weed, and after maybe the first week it got a little bit easier. After a month it was definitely a lot easier, and I would get used to life, and I was pleased with the stability that I felt without being on the weed and the highs and the lows and the excitement and the boredom. I was more stable. I felt like, yeah, I could do this. I don't need weed. So I quit, and I'd start up again sometimes because my partner would smoke it too, and sometimes he would get bored with life and think that he really wanted the weed again, and he'd say, well, let's do this. Sometimes he would get it, and it would be in the house, and I would not smoke it. I wouldn't touch it. And every time I'd walk by where I knew where it was, I would think about it, and I'd think, no, I don't want any of that. Until eventually I would get aggravated or something, and I felt like, oh, weed's going to be my savior. And then I would start smoking again. And then there I was, hooked again. So, even though I quit a few times, I ended up going back to it thinking that it was still my savior from boredom, from depression. But I was lying to myself. And I realized that a few months ago when I started really thinking about what it was doing to me. And my lungs would start to hurt. When I was jogging, I remember feeling a lot of pain in my lungs, and I don't even want to know what was going on in there. I mean, I smoked for 17 years, every single day, and I can't imagine how my lungs looked, or still look. Hopefully they're clearing out by now. It's been 3.5 months since I quit. The difference now from quitting this time is I have the tools that I've learned from Destiny. I've applied self-forgiveness, and I'm living my words. And I realized that I was lying to myself with this dependency on this. I was lying to myself the whole time, making excuses, and it was just so self-destructive. I mean, I don't need to be polluting my lungs like that. I don't need to be polluting my mind like that, depending on something that's going to give me this high and this excitement just so I could be excited for a little while and get things done, and then be bored and frustrated and angry. And I don't need that. I like the stability. I don't need to be dependent on anything. So, and since I quit, I don't have any more anxiety problems. I don't have any depression problems. I get things done, and I'm happy. I'm very content. I don't feel paranoia at all. I still enjoy socializing, even without the weed. In fact, I enjoy it way much more because there's absolutely no anxiety. There's absolutely no thought of paranoid. It's just me. It's like I'm finally just me, really me. It's not the weed in the way. The weed was getting in the way, I was dependent on something that was ruining me. So, yeah, I learned how to write about my dependencies and how to forgive myself for accepting and allowing the dependencies, and accepting and allowing the idea that I needed it. And I got over it. I don't ever want to touch that stuff again. I don't need that. So I just wanted to talk about addiction, and to weed in particular, and You know, you might think, oh, but it's so much fun, and how can I have fun without it? Well, trust me, I smoked it for 17 years straight, and I didn't think I could have fun without it. That and alcohol. And I don't smoke, I don't drink anymore. And I am doing better than I ever have. I'm very, very content, very stable. And yes, I could still have fun. Okay, thank you. This is Amanda. Thank you.